All right, let's jump into a really big what if. We're going to explore a world where the single most defining conflict of the 20th century just never happened. What would our world even look like if World War II was completely averted? Let's get into it. I mean, really think about that for a second. It's so easy to see World War II as this inevitable, unchangeable event in our past. But was it? What if just one thing had gone differently, and that whole terrible chapter of history was just erased?
Now, this isn't just a random fantasy. Our whole scenario hinges on a real historical event. Back in 1938, a group of high-ranking German officers were actually plotting to take out Hitler. They were convinced he was about to drag Germany into a war it couldn't win. But then the Allies appeased Hitler at the Munich conference, handing him a victory without a single shot fired. And just like that, the coup plot fell apart. So in our alternate timeline, the Allies stand firm, the coup goes forward, and the world steps back from the brink.
So if the war is averted, what does this new world even look like? Well, for starters, the entire political map is completely different.
And man, is it different. The world we know, dominated by the two superpowers, the US and the USSR, that never happens. No Cold War. Instead, you get what's called a multipolar world. You still got major powers like Britain, France, and Japan all jockeying for position. And those vast European empires? Well, without a devastating war to bankrupt them, they stick around for decades longer, leading to what some historians have called a darker age of colonialism.
So you'd see the British and French empires slowly fading, but not collapsing like they did in our timeline. Imperial Japan could tighten its grip on East Asia. Germany, even without Hitler, might still be an aggressive power, maybe fighting smaller wars in Eastern Europe. And the Soviet Union? Without the immense territorial gains from the war, its influence on the world stage would be so much smaller.
And what about the United States? Well, without the massive industrial boom of war production, the Great Depression could have dragged on for many more years. The U.S. would likely have stayed isolationist, never really transforming into the global economic and military giant we know today.
Okay, and here's where things get really strange, and frankly, a little uncomfortable. By avoiding the absolute horror of a world war, this alternate reality also hits the brakes on some incredible progress. Just look at this list. I mean, so many of the technologies that define our modern lives were either invented or fast-tracked because of the war. We're talking about the mass production of life-saving penicillin, radar, jet engines. Heck, even the earliest forms of chemotherapy came from studying mustard gas. And of course, the atomic age itself.
Now, sure, maybe we would have gotten these things eventually. But the sheer urgency of a global war lit a fire under innovation. In a world without that pressure, these world-changing breakthroughs could have been delayed for decades.
And the consequences are so much deeper than just technology. Society itself would be almost unrecognizable in ways that are both profoundly good and deeply, deeply troubling.
Let's be absolutely clear about one thing. The single greatest, most important outcome of this timeline is that the Holocaust never happens. More than 6 million Jewish people, along with millions of others, are saved. It's a truth so powerful that it's hard to even comprehend, and it almost makes everything else seem secondary.
And this is the paradox we keep coming back to. That same horrific conflict also acted as a kind of sledgehammer to the old social order, and that disruption, as unintentional as it was, became a powerful engine for change.
Think about it, right? The war pulled millions of women into the workforce, forever changing the economy and ideas about a woman's place in it. In the United States, the hypocrisy of fighting a war against fascism abroad while segregation existed at home fueled the WWII campaign. Victory over fascism, and victory over racism. Without the war acting as that catalyst, these crucial movements for equality would have been stalled, perhaps for decades.
And all of this leads to one final, absolutely chilling question. By averting World War II, did we actually avoid a massive global conflict, or did we just postpone it for a much, much more dangerous time?
This quote here really gets to the terrifying heart of it. Because here's the thing, the science that leads to the atomic bomb, it doesn't just go away because the war did. It's still coming.
And this creates what you might call the nuclear paradox. See, in our world, the horrific use of atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki served as this terrible, unforgettable lesson in just how devastating these weapons are. But in a world without that war, nuclear weapons get developed without that context. No one would truly understand their power until it was far, far too late.
You can pretty much map out the nightmare scenario. A new arms race kicks off in the 50s or 60s between nuclear powers like Germany, Britain, and the US. A new global conflict eventually breaks out.
And this time, leaders use these new wonder weapons without fully grasping what they're unleashing. The result? A potential planet-ending nuclear winter.
So we're left with this final, deeply unsettling question. It's a paradox with no easy answer. Is it possible that World War II, in all of its unimaginable horror, actually accidentally saved humanity from wiping itself out completely? It's a thought that really forces you to look at our own history in a strange and frankly pretty terrifying new light.